That's good. I am Mr. Taxel. I'm a community manager for the Xbox Ambassadors program, and I am here on the Xbox Ambassadors Twitch channel for a Q&A stream with 4 community champions from the Xbox Ambassadors program. So what it means to be a community champion. First, let's talk about what it means to be an Xbox Ambassador. The Xbox Ambassadors program is a community program run by Xbox, but really fueled by the community, and it's about making gaming fun for everyone on Xbox, especially when it comes to the multiplayer experience. So we're looking for ways to make gaming more safe, welcoming, and inclusive for those of you who are members of the Xbox community. And if you're interested in becoming an Xbox Ambassador, Miss Ashes X, if you could please drop the link for that, that would be great. Now, we talked about what it means to be an Xbox Ambassador in general. What it means to be a community champion is really to go above and beyond the expectations that are set for Xbox ambassadors in general, and to be kind of a living example of what it means to be an ambassador and what it means to live the ideals that are laid out in the Xbox Ambassadors Pledge. And now that I'm done with my initial spiel, I'm just going to give you one last thing, which is you can see on the graphic here, next to each of their names, they've got a list of up to 4 different words. Now, these are their specializations as Xbox Ambassador Community Champions. And what those specializations amount to are ways for these folks to communicate to you all what they are interested in, passionate about, skilled at. And it also gives us a way amongst the community champions to kind of organize what we're going to talk about and with which specific groups. So the available specializations are feedback, moderation, content, and events. I could get way into what each of those are, but I'm not going to on this stream today. Fairly self-explanatory, but really what you need to know is that these 4 all have some experience in these areas or an interest in these areas, and they're looking to contribute to the Xbox Ambassadors community more so than a typical Xbox Ambassador might. And so because of that, we have entrusted them with this community champions role, and we're here to recognize the 4 of them today. So why don't we go down the list of folks just on the graphic here. If you want to all just say hello, starting with Albert.
Hey, how's everybody? It's a real honor and pleasure to be here in the stream today. Been a long-time community ambassador, and really a pleasure.
Thank you, Albert. Paul? Hello, Paul.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Well, for me, it's still morning. It's not quite noon yet. Oh, wait, it is. Holy crap. It's afternoon. Tells you how my day's been going, too. So good afternoon, good evening for everybody who might be listening. We should have a good time today. Hang out with us, have some fun.
Absolutely. Eden?
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. It's evening here in the UK, and it's great to be here to be able to talk to you guys about Xbox and Xbox Ambassador stuff.
Perfect. And Zatomas.
Hello, everyone. Ciao from Italy. I'm Zatomas, and I can wait to start this chat tonight. So let's get this started.
And then the last thing that I should say is we have 4 amazing people here on the line with me. I am not a community champion. I'm a community manager for the program, so I work on staff for the Xbox Ambassadors program. But I want to say that there are 35 or 36 other amazing community champions out there as well, who are not represented on this call today because we can only do so many interviews at once. So stay tuned for more of these Q&As in the future where you'll get to see even more community champions as we work our way through introducing everybody and giving them all their time to shine. Albert, how long have you been an Xbox ambassador, and how did you hear about the program?
Well, I actually became an ambassador early in the first time it came around. I think it was early in 2012, I believe. So the program was completely different back then. I heard through a friend. So I just kind of joined. I did a couple of activities back then, and just the program went kind of dormant for a while. And then I came in the beta season when the program picked up steam again. So I've been an ambassador pretty much for, I guess now, almost 9 years.
Awesome.
So it's been quite a ride.
That is quite a ride. And it would have been Xbox Experts when you first joined then, right? Or Expert Zone?
No, it was ambassadors.
Still ambassadors, okay.
Yeah, so, it was Xbox Ambassador, but we had like avatar items. It was like just minor rewards that you would get, like for the original avatars and stuff like that. I basically don't remember the activities that much either. It was a long time ago.
That is a long time ago.
I have the original screenshots when I originally joined. I still have them.
Awesome. And we're going to see a variety of longevity in the program. I've been here for 3 years on staff next month. And so you got triple the time that I have. Paul, how about you? How long have you been an ambassador, and how did you hear about the program?
I've been an ambassador 2 years next Friday, to the day.
2 years next Friday. That's exciting. You gonna do anything
Yeah.
fun to celebrate your anniversary?
I'm probably going to stream, but I always do that anyway. But next day it'll be an anniversary. It'll be what I call ambiversary stream.
Perfect. That sounds like
Maybe
a
do some
great time.
community stuff. There we go. So, and then I heard about it through an email from Microsoft. This sounds like fun. I can answer questions, help people out. My whole background is in technology and helping people and teaching people, and that's actually how I first got involved in the program. All the rest of it just kind of came as I learned more and hung out in the Discord and got to know people.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you've had a good 2 years. What about you, Eden? When did you first join? And how'd you hear about us?
So I actually just logged into my account just to remind myself of the date. So it was September the 4th, 2012. And I remember coming across a forum post back in September 2012, having asked for some help with something. I'll be honest, I can't remember what it was. I asked for some help on the Xbox forums, and an Xbox ambassador replied. It was great. They were able to help me out. They fixed it, and it was all great. And I thought, wonder what an Xbox ambassador is. But those were the days where we had live chats with people around the world to help them out. Starting off on MSN of all places, and then moved on to Skype,
Sure.
and then they built their own chat system.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, those were the days. Yeah.
So you were helped by an Xbox ambassador with a technical problem that you were having, and that was your first introduction. Then you went and looked us up, and then you became one yourself?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, I'll be honest, I can't remember who it was either. If I could ever find out from scrolling through really old forum posts, then
I wonder if they're still around.
I wonder if they're still around, yeah.
Cool. Well, if they are, we'll have to shout them out because you're now a community champion. So you've come a long way since being a helpie. What about you, Zatomas? When did you first become an Xbox ambassador, and how did you hear about the program?
It was, I remember perfectly the date. It was October 5, 2018. And I remember that because I was at a pretty big event here in Italy dedicated to video games. And I was in line waiting for my turn to play Forza Horizon 4. So I was there like, okay, I need to do something. Let's scroll on Twitter. As you know, I spend most of my time on Twitter.
Sure.
So I remember this retweet from Xbox. It was a retweet of the Xbox Ambassador account, and I said, "What is this Xbox Ambassador thing?" And the fun fact is that in that exact moment, while I was in line, I joined the product. I signed the program. I signed up for the program, and a few meters away from me, and I didn't know that, there were the Italian Xbox ambassadors recruiting new ambassadors, and I didn't see them. So curiously, I didn't know about. I know I met them 1 month later at the first Italian Xbox Fan Fest, but I didn't meet them there. So I can perfectly remember this thing because it was curious, waiting to play and discovering and gaining access to a fantastic community of gamers. So I remember that perfectly.
And that was Milan Games Week 2018, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember that because we were working with the Xbox ambassadors who went to go and represent the program there. It's very cool. It's funny that they were there with you, but just right nearby, and that you didn't get a chance to meet them in person. But since then, you've had a chance to connect with some of those folks, I know, and that's pretty cool. So that takes me to our next question, which we talked about when you each kind of first became Xbox ambassadors, but let's talk now about when you became Ambassador of the Month. Each person on this list has been awarded the Xbox Ambassador of the Month award, meaning they were spotlighted for 1 month, and that then turned into a community champion role later on. Let's start with you again, Albert. When were you awarded Xbox Ambassador of the Month, and how did it feel to hear that news?
Well, I think it was early on. It was awesome to hear the news. I was very excited. I think it was definitely in February or March because it was near my birthday, and I believe it was 2016. I think that was the first ones, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I was one of the first ones. I've been featured, I guess, 3 times on 3 spotlights, I guess, individually through my career.
Yeah,
so I guess that was my first
month spotlight. You've had a couple of others.
Yeah, so I think that my first one was early on in 2016. It was really cool because I got on the dashboard back then. So I was super excited. I didn't even know about that. Just a friend of mine texted me like pictures of me on the dashboard. and it was really cool because they were collaborating with Major Nelson on that too.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me what advice I would give, and then at the end of Major Nelson's episode of the week, he said, you know, what my advice would be. He's like longtime Xbox ambassador Albert X from Puerto Rico. You know, he gives this advice on how to do certain things. So it was really cool for me. It was really exciting, you know, to be on the dashboard, to be recognized as Ambassador of the Month, and to also get a mention from Major Nelson. It was really out there. You know, it's been a cool ride. You know?
That's very cool.
So
by the time you were an
definitely a cool
ambassador of the
experience.
month, it was old hat for you. You were already used to the spotlight.
Yeah, because I've you know, since you've been here 3 times, you know, I've kind of, you know, also transitioned with the different staffs throughout the years, and what used to be, you know, the Alpha ambassadors and so on. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it was. But I've always had a close relationship with all community managers. I do want to state that the staff in the Community Ambassadors program is truly amazing. Throughout the years, you know, it's been a cool ride regardless of who's helping. But Taxel has been dealing with me for the past 3 years. I know.
I appreciate that.
Once in a while, but
It's been a pleasure. Paul, when were you awarded Xbox Ambassador of the Month, and how did that make you feel?
August of last year, right before the Community Champion program kicked. I felt good. I mean, it was nice to be recognized for what I've been doing and what I am doing in the program. Especially during last year, you know, being more trapped at home than I was before, it felt nice to feel like I was making a difference. Really, I mean, and through my stuff and getting spotlighted like that, I know for a fact more disabled people have been reaching out to me and reaching into the program and reaching onto Xbox. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so that's my big thing. So so it made me feel very like I was making a difference, which is the whole purpose of the program, a positive difference in gaming. So,
Absolutely. And that's the reason for recognition for each of you and for the rest of the community champions as well. So awesome to bring that full circle. Eden, what about you? When did you become an Ambassador of the Month, and how'd you feel about that?
So I remember becoming Ambassador of the Month in February 2020, right before all of the current pandemic was going on, and it was so exciting. I remember the lead up to it being announced, keeping it as quiet as long as I could.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really exciting, and it's an honour to have been selected to be an Ambassador of the Month. And obviously among so many others as well. There's so many great people, great ambassadors, who have also been selected, and I'm sure there will be in the future as well.
And we're honored to have you in the program. Last one, Zatomas. When were you awarded Ambassador of the Month, and how did that make you feel?
Well, I'm pretty new. It was in February 2021, so just 1 month away. And It was like, oh my, really? Seriously? Me? I remember I was really shocked, positively shocked by the news, but I was so happy because, you know, you really, I mean, as ambassador, you spend your time doing good for the community, not expecting something back. I mean, the pleasure is already in giving back to the community because the community gives you so much. So when you are recognized by saying you are the ambassador of the month, you feel like this giving back somehow made an impact. So that's the kind of feeling you got. You feel like, oh my, so I'm really doing the difference, as Paul was saying. So it's fantastic. It's something that actually inspires you to do even more. So it's amazing.
Love to hear that. And I want to take a moment to congratulate you. You've had a big couple of months now. You became Ambassador of the Month in February, and then just yesterday you announced that you have received the Xbox MVP award. So congratulations to you
Yes.
on that.
congratulations.
As well. That's
Congratulations, Zatomas.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and not just you. We onboarded a couple of other MVPs as well, including Cypher of Tyr and Sightless Combat. Sightless Combat is also a community champion, although he's not here with us today. So big congratulations to you and to the rest of the Xbox MVPs. And as some of you may know, there is a sister program to the Xbox Ambassadors program called the Xbox MVP program. I'm not going to spend too much time on that today, but I did want to say congrats, Zatomas, because that's brand new news for you. And again, a big 2 months. So that's amazing.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. I want to turn back around to Albert and ask you a bigger one. Well, what is your favorite part about the Xbox Ambassadors program today?
Well, today I really, you know, love the fact that people reach out to me with so many issues. Still, when we don't have the tools as we used to help with the community directly through the program in certain ways, people still reach out to me in so many ways, from grandparents, family members, always reaching out for assistance. So the Xbox Ambassadors program has really helped me so much. I mean, I can't state enough how much it's helped me, and it helps my life on a continuous basis. I do run a community here in Puerto Rico, which is Xbox Live Puerto Rico, and I run that community based on the Xbox Ambassadors principles. I've been running that community for almost 10 years now. So being an ambassador and an Xbox community champion gives me, a certain sense of legitimacy for everything that I do within my community here in Puerto Rico. So it's a real pleasure to give back to the community and just give a lot of orientation to what it is, and to push these values of inclusion, of making gaming fun for everybody, and it's really also helps me put my island Puerto Rico on the map in a certain way. So being also an Xbox community champion from Puerto Rico helps me also in a very patriotic way, because I guess I'm one of the few, or if not the only, Puerto Rican to have made it to this level. So it gives me a great sense of pride to be an ambassador today.
Yeah, that's a well-deserved pride, and we're very happy to have you. And I know that you have been a huge part of the Puerto Rican community of Xbox ambassadors as well. So I am going to ask you probably about that later on in our list of questions today as well, to talk about some other communities that we're involved in. How about you, Paul? What is your favorite part about the program today?
The relationships I've built. It's the program has brought me kind of out of my shell in the sense of online gaming, streaming, which has opened up a whole new world. I'm now involved in a couple of podcasts. Well, if you really look for me now on Twitter, you can all over the place. But it's all goes back to the program and allowing me to meet people I wouldn't have met, to kind of have a social life, as it were. Because even before the pandemic, being disabled, I was very limited, and this has kind of opened up that limit.
Yeah. It makes me very happy to hear that. I'm glad that this has been a source of social connection for you. I know it's a source of social connection for me during the pandemic, when I'm trapped in my apartment most of the time, when I'm not trapped in this stream room the rest of the time.
Let's call it what it is. It's a closet.
It is.
It's a walk-in, but it's a closet.
So that's awesome. What about you, Eden? What's your favorite part about the program these days?
These days, my favorite part about the program is making friends, playing games with friends from the program, and also being able to meet ambassadors in person as well when there's not a pandemic, through events that been hosted in Microsoft Store in London, and XO19, for example. That was a great event. But being able to play games regularly with ambassadors, and then meet them in person as well, and play more games in person, it's really good fun.
Absolutely. Great memories at all sorts of events with ambassadors. I know we've met in person. We got lucky to meet at XO19 back before the world locked down.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that coming back sometime in the future. What about you, Zatomas? What's your favorite part about the program?
Well, there are so many things I like. It's really hard to just pick one. But I'd say that actually meeting new friends is definitely on top of the list, especially because, when you join the program, you also join all of these social spaces, from the Discord server to, of course, the community in a wider sense, like on Twitter, etc. And you feel like you're really part of something. Even, for example, the Xbox Game Club, it's another way to discover new games while having fun with very like-minded and great people. So it's kind of a great chance to also meet someone that otherwise you wouldn't meet. And on the other side, being an Xbox ambassador, considering the attention that the community, and I mean the community managers, gave us, means also having the chance to let your messages kind of resonate. So For example, when you talk about something on Twitter and sometimes Xbox ambassador account retweet you or move the conversation to a wider level, you got the chance to really make what you're talking about reach a wider audience. And that is really important to me because I care about topics such as inclusion or gaming with kids. So all topics that I really want to involve more people on. So all of these chances are definitely my favorite part of being an ambassador.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great answer. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge I've been keeping an eye on the chat a little bit, and I know we have a number of community champions who are in the chat but not featured on our Q&A today. So if you're comfortable, folks in the chat who are community champions, if you want to just drop a note saying that you're a community champion, maybe we got some viewers who don't know that you have also been a part of this role and have also been a part of what Zatomas and the rest of these folks have just talked about. As that happens, I'm going to move on to our next question. What's a good memory that you have from the Xbox Ambassadors program?
Oh, wow. I really have enjoyed quite a few streams on there. So I remember early on with a lot of other ambassadors. And I really have to always go back to these memories with my dear friend Scratch. Early on, Scratch helped me a lot get my thoughts together about the program to enjoy the ride and let things take me where they may within the program. Just keep doing what I do, excelling within my community, whether it's local or or international. Just always put my best effort forth without any expectations or without any ambition, just to keep it really humble as I can. So I think those are really valuable lessons that Scratch bestowed upon me. So I really appreciate that advice because it's really helped me keep me centered and in everything that I do within the Xbox community, within the program, and within Xbox Live Puerto Rico. So it's really helped me keep a certain north. So I really appreciate that. And on the other hand, I really do love the fact that I have several friends who have made it to the top tiers of ambassadors due to my recruitment and of me guiding them through the program. So shout out to all my recruits throughout the years. And I'm so happy that many of you have made it even to the top 100 or still, diamond tier ambassadors.
Yeah.
So that's I think the biggest honor I received, just being an example to other ambassadors who are still contributing in that manner.
Definitely. Yeah. Shout out to those folks. Shout out to Scratch. Scratch is the first Xbox ambassador I ever met. He's in the chat today. He was at Studio D over here at the Xbox headquarters when I came in for my interview before I joined the team. So Scratch and I got to meet about a week before I actually showed up for work, and that was nice. And then we got to hang out a little bit that week too. Cerebral Paul, what is a good memory that you want to share about your experience with the Ambassadors program? Or actually about a memory that you made with other ambassadors specifically?
It's hard for me to narrow it down to just one or anything like that, but it's got to be when I get together like Pyro and with Pyro's Playhouse and with Northern Zoot, be it on their Ambi or their personal streams, and we all get together and we play because we have so much fun. It's just laughter. There's never any, no matter what we're doing, shooting each other in the face or beating each other at Jackbox. It's just, it's hours of fun. You forget about everything else. And that's kind of what I need. And so that's what I get from that. That's what I get from a lot of the program. I hope I bring it to the streams that I'm in and such. That for just a little while, the world kind of goes away and you're just hanging out with your friends. I feel like I've only been here for 2 years, but I feel like I've known some of you forever.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love that answer because we talk a lot about the ideals behind the program, and that really is kind of the core of our commitment here to make gaming fun for everyone. And sometimes we can gloss over the fact that it's the gaming part that starts that sentence, right? And so you have to have those gaming experiences together for them to then be fun for everyone. And so it's awesome that you've had that experience in a lot of your interactions with other ambassadors. What about you, Eden? What's a memory that you'd like to share that you've made with other ambassadors?
Well, the obvious answer for me to give here would be the first Xbox Ambassador meetup in London that I hosted, but that's all on a blog post that I wrote up. So I kind of want to talk about the first time I ever got a win on PUBG. I was playing with The Edge 1970, who's another ambassador, community champion as well.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing some duos on PUBG. It was just literally a casual evening of gaming, and He died very early on and was spectating me playing and was giving me loads of advice, telling me where to go, what trees to hide behind, and where the enemies were, etc. And I remember the celebrations we both made. At the end of that game, it was out of this world. Just to think something so small like winning the game of PUBG, it's just really stuck with me, that memory. I think it's on YouTube somewhere as well.
Awesome. That's a great memory. I remember my first win in PUBG as well, although I was not playing with other ambassadors at the time, so I won't share it here. Zatomas, what about you? What's a memory that you would like to share?
Well, maybe my favorite one is when I actually met the Italian ambassador, because that was the first time I met them in person, and also the first ever Xbox Fan Fest in Italy. That was like in November 2018, yes. So it was fantastic because, meeting all of this person from the community, meeting the ambassadors, meeting aspiring ambassadors, it was all together. It was a great memory. And the best part is actually that all of these people then became my friends. I'm lucky enough to call them friends, and you have no idea how important they were and they still are during all of this COVID time. So it's more like, it's not just finding new people you play with; it's literally to find friends.
Right. Absolutely. And that's awesome that you've had that experience and that you did get to see them about a month later after you missed them at the Game Week in Milan.
Yes.
So my next question for the group, we'll start with Albert again. What's an interesting fact about you?
Wow, that's a tough question.
It is tough. You're an interesting person. You've got some.
I don't know. I'm a dog lover. I have 5 dogs.
Ooh, 5 dogs.
Yeah, I have
Nice.
2 here in my home, and my girlfriend has 3. But I guess they're all family, so I'm a huge dog lover. I'm an attorney, so a lot of people may or may not know that. So I'm an attorney by day, gamer, Xbox ambassador, community champion by night, or whatever. No, I guess I'm 24 hours a day community champion.
There you go.
So I guess more of a daytime attorney and
Even while you're
24/7
sleeping.
community champion.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, my life is fairly simple. I'm an old guy, no kids, 44 years old. So I keep it simple. Just
Awesome.
work, play, and stay healthy as much as I can. That's
That
what my
sounds
life
like
is
a good
about.
way to do it. What about you,
Simple
Paul?
happiness.
Simple happiness. I appreciate that. Paul, what's an interesting fact about yourself?
I'm boring. I'm
No, you're
Wow.
not.
well, let's see. One thing most people, even though it's been brought up, that like the idea of, I was brought up with the idea of service to the young age. At the age of 9, I was in marching down in Portugal for Northern California, and our family had always done community-related things, walkathons, fundraisers for this, that, or the other thing. So it's in my blood, you say. So I mean, it's kind of comes naturally to me. It's just different that it's all remote now,
Right. That's awesome.
But that's about it.
Well, and that does really come through in the way that you interact with folks online as well, which is the only way that you and I have had a chance to interact yet, but hopefully we'll meet someday in person as well.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they canceled the summit last year because they knew I was.
That's right. I said
that's the only reason.
I can't meet Paul. We have to cancel the whole thing. Eden, what about you? What's an interesting fact that you would like to share?
I'm going to go off the beaten track a little bit and go with a bit of a random fact, and that's I'm a big Metallica fan. I love my metal music, particularly Metallica. But I also love artists' impressions and artists' posters that get created for the band as well. And I've got quite a large number of framed kind of hand-drawn artists' posters for Metallica. All signed and numbered, etc. Which I love to look at, and it reminds me of all those memories I've got of the days when we could actually go to a gig and watch a band in person perform, and how I so much crave go and see a band live again.
Absolutely. It's depressing. My phone sometimes gives me notifications with photos from concerts that I've been to, and it's like 2 years ago. I'm like, dang, I would love to have that experience again.
Yeah.
Someday. Interesting fact from you, Zatomas. What would you like to share with us?
I would love to have a very interesting fact. Usually, when they ask me this question, I start with "I'm a gamer," so I don't think that's the right answer here. But well, a fun fact about me, interesting fact. Well, one of the curious things is that I spend a lot of time playing games. So I'm kind of a superhero during. I'm not an attorney like Albert, but during daytime I work on software, and I spend the rest of the day, which means the night in this case, on fun software, so on games. So it looks like kind of my life all is around that. Maybe the one thing I love to mention seriously about me is that I'm really taking seriously this idea of raising my kids, playing with them. It may sound like, okay, it's fun, it's obvious, but it's not like that. And so I think it's something that I'm really enjoying in being their companion while they grow up and while they do that with the right game at the right time. Aside from that, I'm pretty normal person, very nerd, very geek. So I'm kind of on average, let's say.
Awesome. And I know that about you is that you're passionate about gaming as a parent and with your children and making sure that
Yes.
family settings and ratings and things like that are appropriate. And that's awesome. I know there are a lot of ambassadors who are parents. I'm not a parent. We don't have any other parents on the panel here today, as far as I know. But that is hugely important and a great way to contribute to this community. So thank you for being a voice in that space. My next question for you, I'm going to circle back around to Albert, and I'm actually going to put these next two questions together because they're related. So what types of games do you like to play? And is there a game that you've been playing lately that you would recommend to the audience?
Oh wow, yeah. Well, I'm a traditional shooter guy. I like shooters a lot. I rather tell you the games I don't like to play more than the ones I like to play. So I don't like fighters. I don't like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Injustice. I just don't have skills to create combos and stuff like that. So I just get frustrated by them. I don't have the right reflexes by them, so I just don't play that. Besides that, I can pretty much play everything else. I do like shooters. I like third-person shooters, first-person shooters. I like driving games. I like Forza. I love playing new games on Game Pass. I do have to admit that I'm not much of a social player. I love my stories. I love games with deep, stories that have a good narrative that gets me hooked on that and good gameplay. And I just lose myself within that experience. I rarely play online multiplayer games anymore. So I don't want to call myself antisocial, but it's just more of the stage I'm in my gaming career where I just love those stories and I get really hooked. I get home and I lose myself within those. So I think that's mostly what I do play. And I love Hitman 3. I think it was an amazing game. I think you did a great job. It's something I've been playing recently. And playing that Hive Busters DLC on Gears 5. So having a lot of fun with that on the Series X.
Awesome. Great answer. And it's okay that, social gaming isn't your thing all the time. There's a lot of awesome games that, like you said, you can just kind of lose yourself in the narrative and in the world. And those are some of my favorites as well. Paul, what about yourself? No. What do you like to play? What kinds of games? And is there any in particular that you would recommend that you've been playing lately?
I'm an open world guy. I love open world games. Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably my absolute. Drew me in the most, felt the most real. But I like stuff like that. Like you, I also like the real-time strategy type games, take over the world type. Mm-hmm. Neither one of us are as good as Ashes, Scorched Earth, but, she's scary to watch do that. But, I will play like first-person shooters with my friends, with people from the program and other people I played with, because that's one of the drawbacks I have with my disability is I'm not good at those games. And thankfully, they don't expect me to be good at those games, But you want to play PGA Golf Tour, PGA 2K21, I might be able to hold my own there and actually beat you. So, awesome. So that's a game I've been playing a lot of. I recently beat Control. Which was a little difficult at parts. I recently got into, there's a couple of them. that I can't remember right now. Because I play a lot of games, and I tend to I'll switch 4 or 5 games a day, just depending on if I'm playing with other people or if I'm just in the mood to go check something else out. Like today with all the new Bethesda stuff that hit Game Pass, I've already downloaded 4 games. I know what I'm doing tonight. I'm
Right.
going to be bouncing in those 4 games. So
That is excellent news, and I'm very much looking forward to grabbing some of those downloads as well. What about you, Eden? What kind of games do you like to play, and what have you been playing lately that you would recommend?
Well, those that know me well know my answer to this question already. Call of Duty is my go-to game. Playing a lot of Warzone lately as well. But don't get me wrong, I do like to play GTA and Forza as well. F1, big fan of F1. But yeah, normally my go-to game is Call of Duty and Warzone. But lately, I did get to experience The Medium, which just launched on Series S and X with Game Pass, and I absolutely loved it. Was totally hooked. So that's my recommendation to all of the viewers on the stream today, and that's give The Medium a try.
Awesome.
I was pleasantly surprised.
And if
let me throw in real quick Division 2.
Oh, okay.
I picked back up.
There we go.
If you haven't gone back to Division 2, the new stuff is really incredible. It's a lot of fun.
Sure. Absolutely. For The Medium, Eden, I'm not a horror games guy. I scare easily. Is it too scary for someone like me, or is it something that I might be able to stomach?
I'd give it a go, to be honest. It wasn't as scary as something like The Evil Within. There were just a couple of points where things just jumped out at you on the screen and made you jump. It's not like massively scary, I don't think. It's more of a psychological horror rather than a scare horror.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah.
I have told you I want you to play that on stream.
I know. I see. There's Cami is saying the same thing in the chat here. I'll just cry.
Yeah.
If you want to watch me cry on stream, then yeah, we can probably arrange that. We need the lights on.
I think we need a repeat of Xbox Ambassador community managers getting scared on stream, because there's a previous community manager that also got scared on stream as well.
Yes, the famous Stein. So yeah, maybe someday. I think it's easier for me to think about that in the context of a stream, because at least there are people there with me to talk to about how scared I am, as opposed to like stuck in the dark alone and just being in the moment super scared. But still, it doesn't sound as much fun to me as some other things potentially do. What about you, Zatomas? What are some types of games that you like to play, and what would you recommend that you've been playing lately?
Well, I love RPG. Definitely my favorite genre. I'm not that kind of social player, as I don't remember if it was Albert maybe mentioning the same before. So it's not that I don't love playing with others. It's more like I love playing the story, focus on my character and totally get lost. Like if, I don't know, a game needs 80 hours to complete, be sure that I will take at least double. So I literally love getting lost. Speaking of RPG, if I may suggest one game, since it's on the Game Pass, along with lots of other amazing Bethesda titles, play the king of all the RPG, play Skyrim if you want to. So yeah, if you still haven't, or even if you did, give it another run, because definitely it's 10 years and almost 10 years in November, and is still there, absolutely perfect. So yeah, that's my suggestion.
I second that. That is my sacred game that I will never uninstall from my Xbox. It just, even if I don't play it, it's got to be there in case I want to play it, and every once in a while I get sucked back in for another 20 hours or so. It's a wonderful
yes.
game.
Exactly, like a comfort zone.
Definitely. I fully agree. So we're going to continue on the theme of favorite games. We're going to talk about our all-time favorites. So maybe we just cover that with you, and if not, we'll circle back. Zatomas, what about you, Albert? If you could pick just one game, and I know this is hard, but just one game to be your all-time favorite, what would you tell the audience here?
It would definitely have to be Gears of War, I guess, the original.
Okay, I'll give you the franchise. Gears of War franchise?
Yeah, I guess that's probably my favorite of all. Definitely. But close second on 360, it's probably a hidden gem that maybe not a lot of people have played. Shadows of the Damned.
Shadows of the Band.
Of the Damned.
Damn.
Shadows of the Damned.
I'm not supposed to say that on here.
Sorry. That's
okay.
the name of the game.
It's fine. It's the name of the game. I'm just joking.
It's by Suda51.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for the recommendations. What about you, Paul? If you could pick one franchise or one game, all-time favorite, what would it be?
probably Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Awesome. That's a new one.
Just because I'm a Star Wars guy, and well, because yeah, I can, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of stuff open world like Jedi Fallen Order, one I mentioned earlier, Red Dead Redemption 2, Fallout, all of them, Oblivion, they all have a place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, but those are the ones that I really draw back to and say those are my favorites. I didn't really go back and say the platformers or the shooters. Got to be an open world game. And it's got to be one with a great story, and Fallen Order fits all that. In fact, Outer Worlds does too.
Sure.
Outer Worlds was amazing,
And that's our current game of the week in the Xbox Community Game Club.
Yep.
So if you
And
haven't
I've
given
been
it a
playing
try,
it again because of that. I've been playing that again, as a matter of fact.
it's working. The model works. Eden, I already know your answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What's your all-time favorite franchise in video games?
Oh, I wonder what my all-time favorite franchise is. It's Call of Duty, obviously. Well, don't get me wrong. There are other franchises that can have a place in my heart. They have got so many memories from when I was younger, etc. But if I had to pick just one Call of Duty game from the franchise that would be my favorite, it would be Modern Warfare 3. I know there's loads of people who are in chat right now who would be saying, no, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2. But Modern Warfare 3 has just got this extra place in my heart where it's just what I grew up playing with my mates. I think I've got a feeling on the game there's I think about 100 days worth of gameplay from there. Modern Warfare 3.
Awesome. Well, you gave us the franchise and the title, which is perfect. And what about you, Zatomas? What's your favorite franchise of all time?
Well, definitely Halo, because yeah, it was always the first memory I got of an Xbox. It was playing Halo. For some reasons, all of my most important moments of the last years were all related to playing some of the Halo of the franchise. So it's kind of really something I really love, that kind of love you might have for a friend or kind of a relative or something like that. So definitely Halo. And by the way, it's amazing, great story, great characters, great gameplay. It's kind of a milestone in the history of games in general. And I must confess, I never played Call of Duty. I don't know if I'm allowed at this point to stay here, but
How have you managed
I never played that.
Wow.
That's impressive to go. You've been in gaming for a long time, and to avoid Call of Duty the entire time is a difficult thing to do. So,
exactly.
Congratulations.
There's always a first COD game.
Yeah, there is. It's not too late to get hooked. Halo was my first shooter franchise that I played. Definitely has a soft spot for me. One of the first 2 games I ever owned on the Xbox. So, great choice. Next question. We're going to move on from the gaming topic for a second. Albert, what are some things that you like to do that are not gaming related?
Well, I'm a geek. I can't be still. I always have to keep myself busy. So I'm either watching movies or I watch sports. I do basketball. I like football to watch, so I'm always have to keep myself busy. Or I'm either working with the Xbox Live community or I'm working on my culinary projects, which I am a social media manager for Caribbean food championships and for smoking hot barbecue competitions, which are 2 events here locally in Puerto Rico. So I love culinary arts. So I'm a foodie and dog lover. So I'm always keeping myself busy. I can't just be relaxing. I always have to keep busy doing something. So I'm always working on some type of project.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were a social media manager for food competition stuff. You have to send me those links so I can go and look at all those pictures, because I do love a good barbecue picture and recipe.
Yeah, we're on hold. I had the event ready to go right before the pandemic. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's really hard to get those done nowadays.
That is
in their current circumstances. But yeah, I actually produced the events.
Very cool.
And so I'll send you the links.
Perfect. What about you, Paul? What do you like to do outside of gaming?
There's life outside of gaming. No, I'm a movie and music guy. Any media. When I grew up, since I couldn't go out and play, I watched a lot of TV and a lot of movies. So my dad used to call me his walking TV guide. If he couldn't find the paper one, he would ask me what was on. So I used to more so collect comic books and be into collectibles is I'm your basic geek, or I used to say nerd with social skills.
Perfect. There's lots of those.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, and technology is my hobby. There's very little I do that doesn't involve either working on or building computers or playing video games or watching movies And I'm big into listening to music, a little bit of everything, with a few exceptions. But depending on the mood I'm in, I have thousands upon thousands of songs that I paid for over the years. So yeah, that's it. I don't, especially now with the pandemic, I can't. And living here used to be, I was involved with a bunch of sorts. I've served on board of directors for youth football teams, for therapeutic horseback riding programs, and a lot of that has gone by the wayside. Because I'm away from where I grew up, and I've been limited. So my hobbies have really become indoorsy type things.
Sure.
So
many of ours have recently.
yeah.
Well,
And I don't know that that's going to change back.
Right. Well, hopefully soon. What about you, Eden? What are some non-gaming things that you like to do?
Well, obviously, I've already mentioned my music, and I'm really into my music. Those that follow me on social media will know that I do love to tweet a good food photo. I do love my food, especially barbecues.
Awesome. I do know your food photos.
Yeah,
You post some good ones.
Other than, thank you. I'll take that as a very good compliment. But other than food and music, I do love every now and then some crafts. Making things. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk too much about that on the Exist Everett Ambassador program, but
gamertag key rings.
Make things, the key rings and t-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, and you now feature shirts. I saw that. That's very cool.
I do. Yeah, trying to raise money for special effects as I've done for the last 6 years, I think it is.
Yeah, a long time now.
Yeah.
And a great cause.
That's me.
Perfect. What about you, Zatomas? What are some things you like to do outside of gaming?
Oh, well, I'd say very recently I started crochet, so that's something that I'm loving so far, especially building small, let's say, kind of puppets, which are called amigurumi. It's a Japanese term for these crochet-made puppets, and I like that. And aside from that, well, reading definitely and playing piano maybe are the two things I do the most, aside from watching TV series. That is always on top of the list, definitely. Maybe after gaming is the activity I spend most time on. Aside from that, well, when I got time, I usually like to be involved in home projects, like right now we are building a MIDI controller with Arduino, so we are kind of a family project, is that, but I'm more like an assistant on that. So everything which is creating something literally fascinates me somehow. So when I get the chance, I always happy to join.
Very cool. Thank you all for sharing that about yourselves.
Real quick, let me just say, if you don't hang out with us in Discord, food does come up a lot. A lot of the ambassadors are into food, and pictures and cooking, and so yeah, if you ever want to be hungry any time of the day or night, go to the ambassador channel.
That's right.
Especially pizza.
Yep,
Yeah.
Pizza. We'll get to pizza at the end of the call here. Anything potato related will get my attention. Speaking of which, we have landed on food as we usually do, and our next question is, Albert, what is your favorite food?
Oh wow, that's really tough. My favorite foods, definitely one of my favorite foods has to be sushi. So I was actually married to a Japanese for 19 years. So I've been to Japan a couple of times, 3 times. So I love Japanese food overall. So I think that's definitely my favorite type of food.
Perfect.
Yeah, and pizza and tacos.
Sushi, pizza, and tacos. If you can figure out that fusion, I know there's a lot of trucks working on it, but maybe you can land the triple combo.
There is sushi pizza. I don't know how we can incorporate the tacos onto that.
You just roll it up?
Figure it out.
So what about you, Paul? Favorite food?
You're going to make me pick a favorite food. Yeah,
That's right. Do your best.
All of the above. You've heard some of the stuff I eat. You really asked me that. Wow. I had to pick just one. That is a hard question for somebody like me, because I'm what you would call a foodie. I like probably a good medium rare steak. Seriously, a really nicely cooked medium rare steak.
That makes sense. Medium rare steak is perfect for me. What cut of steak though?
Prime rib. In that case, I'd go lean more toward the rare.
Okay.
Horseradish sauce.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great. Eden, what's your favorite food?
Well, being from England, there's only really one choice that I can share with you, and that is a classic Sunday roast dinner with crispy golden roast potatoes, juicy meat, whether that's beef, pork, lamb, chicken, and delicious vegetables, and a Yorkshire pudding, and oozings of gravy. I'm getting so hungry now.
Well,
I have had that once when I was in the UK. That is an amazing dinner. Let me just say, yeah, that's right up there.
I can't.
It really is.
And if it's a roast pork, you've got to have the pork crackling with it as well. Obviously, if we were to go down the steak route, like Paul said, obviously I totally agree. Medium rare with the steak all the way. But roast dinner is where I'm sitting on the fence right now.
I made a mistake not eating before this. Can you translate for those of us who aren't from the UK? What is Yorkshire pudding?
Yorkshire pudding. Oh well, a Yorkshire pudding is basically batter that is then roasted in oil.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you can use like when you make cupcakes or muffins, you can use like a muffin tray with the little holes in. Fill those up with oil, and then when it's really hot, dip your batter in, and then it will rise and go really crispy but soft on the inside. And then you can fill up the cup, which is your Yorkshire pudding, with gravy as well.
Wow, that sounds great.
I think that kind of summarizes what Yorkshire pudding is. I'm not from Yorkshire, so.
Yeah,
Sounds
thank you for
good.
translating. Some of us have never been to Yorkshire, so we don't know. What about you, Zatomas? Favorite food?
I know it may sound obvious since I'm Italian, but I definitely say pizza, pasta, and Nutella. Definitely exactly in this order.
Top
So
three.
yeah, but if I had to pick one, it would be pizza, maybe. No, I can't. Pizza and pasta must be on the same plate. No, I can't pick. I can't. So
Also,
pizza and pasta goes together.
For the non-Italians in the crowd, though, the pizza she eats is way different than the pizza we eat.
Yes.
That's true.
And thank you for specifying that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we talked about pizza now, so I'm going to just jump to the question that we've been saving for when we're ready to start fighting. We'll start with you, Zatomas, because you're the authority based on your heritage. What do you think about pineapple on pizza?
Okay, I must admit I never had it, so I feel like an injustice say that it will not be fine because I didn't try it, even though all of my DNA is telling me it's wrong. So I'm kind of confused on that. Let's say maybe I try, but I wouldn't pick it.
Okay, that's very open-minded of you, and I appreciate that. You had a different reaction the first time I asked you this question, and that's okay. It was instinctive, and some of us have that instinctive aversion to that idea. What about you, Albert? What do you think about pineapple on pizza?
Well, I have to be fair as well. I think the first time or only times I tried was like a Hawaiian pizza, and it was so many years ago that I would actually have to go and give it a second try. I'm the type of person who's willing to try anything at least once. If I don't like it, then I can say I don't like it. But saying you don't like things without trying it kind of makes no sense. So, I think I would have to revisit that. And like I was saying late before, like I never was really into pineapple, but I did try tacos al pastor with pineapple the other day, and they were delicious. So I don't know, maybe as I'm getting older, my palate is expanding. So I may have to revisit that chapter of my life and get back to you. Why don't we do that?
I'm curious, both of you, if you ever encounter it, intentionally, otherwise, let us know what you think.
First,
I'll
let me
look forward
ask,
to it.
Ash's ex needs to ban Dopey from the chat because he likes pineapple on pizza. Other than that, no, just some things don't go together, and that's it, right there. And,
Using your
to call
platform.
it Hawaiian pizza. Yeah, and to call it a Hawaiian pizza that's just wrong because it was developed in Canada. Uses Canadian bacon.
Well,
Call it what it is. Pork and pineapple.
Okay, we've reached the animosity part of the of the question. And how about you, Eden? How does that make you feel?
I apologize if the chat's about to go crazy now, but I quite like pineapple on pizza. Pineapple and ham to make a Hawaiian pizza is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll play the middle road. I like it in some circumstances, specifically if there's like jalapenos or some other hot peppers involved. That makes me feel better about the sweetness. Otherwise, sweet pizza, not for me. But people can put pineapple on their stuff if they want to. Albert X, do you have a favorite book or author?
Well, I guess it's gonna sound kind of corny and stuff, but I really am into like murder mysteries. Like I love me those, Da Vinci Codes, the Thomas Harris books, the Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs. Usually creepy FBI investigative movies kind of deal. I usually read the books. Whether I watch the movie and I like it, then I go back and read the book, or vice versa. But I really like those kind of suspense thrillers. I do love my Stephen King books as well. So yeah, I like novels,
Awesome.
thriller, mystery, horror novels. That's what I like.
How about you, Paul? Favorite books, favorite authors?
Hard to pick just one because I've always been a very big reader. I was reading Mark Twain when I was 10 years old. I've read almost all the Stephen Kings. I read a lot of Agatha Christie, as a matter of fact. My grandmother used to give me her old Alfred Hitchcock magazines because they were full of mystery. And the old OG, Sherlock Holmes, is probably one of my favorites. To actually read those stories is amazing.
Absolutely.
And of course, the geek answers, Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien.
Mm-hmm. Excellent choices.
Yeah.
How about you, Eden?
Well, I actually have in my hand right now one of the books from my favorite series. It's the Fighting Fantasy series by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, and they're kind of game books. So you have to use dice, and it'll tell you. Basically, you decide the journey through the book.
Oh, choose your own adventure style.
So you kind of decide, what kind of characters you're going to be, your strength, your stamina. And then you go off into battle for different scenarios for different creatures. It's very fantasy. I think I've only ever reached the end 2 or 3 times because every time's going to be different.
Can you send me a note about that? Because that sounds very interesting with the dice involved. I've played the ones where it's like a binary choice and then you go to the page in question, but I've never played where it's more complicated than that. That sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you. So with these books, you have to kind of create I'm going to call it a sheet with kind of all the details on for your particular story that you're going through, with your stamina and your skill scores and the dice rolls, etc. So I'll send you a template that I've made for that as well.
Awesome. That sounds great. What about you, Zatomas? Favorite books, favorite authors?
Favorite books on my first place. I guess it is in English 100 Years of Solitude. But that's pretty amazing novel by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Amazing story, very, very particular one. And the Silmarillion, they are definitely on the same level to me.
The Silmarillion.
But favorite, yeah,
Wow.
I love it, definitely. It's my favorite one by Tolkien. Sad, a very sad and complicated book, but a lovely one. I can't even count the times I've read that book. But if I have to pick, maybe a saga, I'd go with Harry Potter. Yes, definitely Harry Potter. Yeah. It's my favorite one. Yeah, absolutely. I'd say so. And in general, yeah,
go ahead.
It's amazing, right? And in general, I love authors like Adams and Terry Pratchett. They have this mix of fantastic stories and kind of fun attitude that I love in that kind of books. So yeah, it's pretty huge mix of fantasy stuff, let's say.
Absolutely. I saw Terry Pratchett got a shout out earlier in the chat as well, which is great. I love those books. And I do want to say, I think you're the only person I know who has told me that they've read the Silmarillion more than once. And I have a lot of respect for your ability to slog through that because I love Tolkien. I love epic fantasy. I cannot read the Silmarillion. It just loses me at the part where... really a start, it's pretty early on.
Yeah.
It loses me. So.
It loses me after the title page.
It's a tough one. So I'm glad that you like it, and we share a common passion for Tolkien's work, if not a common passion for the Silmarillion. I have one more question that I had kind of pre-prepared here, and we'll circle back to something we talked about a little bit earlier in the conversation. Albert, we'll start with you. Are you a member of any communities outside the Xbox Ambassadors program?
Well, I am the co-founder or lead administrator of Xbox Live Puerto Rico, which I founded or co-founded, I guess, over 10 years ago. So I think we're near 13,000 followers on there. So yeah, I run that community. So I am a part of that. I'm a community leader within that community. I have also recently launched a secondary group, which is called Embajadores X, which is in Spanish is called Xbox Ambassadors. It's a direct translation of Xbox Ambassadors, just simply the Spanish. And there I collaborate with Atilo MX from Mexico. He's an MVP and a fellow ambassador. So we collaborate with the Central American, Latin American communities within those markets and spreading the ambassador message to the Hispanic and Latin American community. So we're basically focused on that, and I do that basically on a daily basis. So I run a team of administrators. Most of them are active ambassadors, if not really high-level ambassadors. But yeah, that's basically what we do, and that's what I've been doing for quite a while now. I love what I do.
Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, we have folks in the chat who are ambassadors who are Spanish speaking and would like to be involved in those groups. Certainly welcome. Paul, what about you? Any communities outside the Xbox Ambassadors program?
Not really. I mean, I'm like I said earlier, I'm involved in a couple of podcasts, and I guess that kind of counts because they're a community of podcasts focused on Xbox and gaming and other gaming sites, mostly Xbox. But, other than that, that's about it. But that's becoming a big part of what I do, actually. Mm-hmm. I'm on 2, about to be on 3, and I also get shot on a bunch of others. And I bring a lot of what being an ambassador is to those podcasts. Anytime there's a discussion about accessibility or inclusivity for disabled people, I'm the one they come to, because they know that I'm coming from that, and I give them, I give them the spiel. I talk up how I think Microsoft is a leader in accessibility, and it's an honest answer. In that sense, I guess those are communities that I'm involved in. I bring this with me to those communities.
Awesome. Love to hear that, and I love to hear that that's an honest answer, because we do need, it's awesome that you appreciate the work that's been done there, and also got to hold people accountable to continue doing the work. It's not over yet. So thank you for being a resource to your friends and to other people in the community on those topics. And it's always awesome hearing from you about the work that you're doing there.
Let me just say, Pixel Slap in the chat, I didn't know he was an ambassador. We actually know each other from the other community. He didn't realize I was an ambassador either.
That's very cool. You just happen to both be. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how about you, Eden? Any communities outside of the ambassadors program that you're involved with?
So, for me, mostly, I'm mostly involved with the ambassador program, but obviously because of my love for Call of Duty, I do get involved with Call of Duty communities, particularly streamers, YouTubers, etc. But I suppose any other kind of communities or community events or streams, whatever that I take part in, have all kind of really stemmed from the ambassador program or people that I've met through the program. The only other thing that I can really mention here is all of the fundraising people that I speak to, the other people that stream for special effects, or that raise money for special effects are people that I speak to a lot. Yeah, mostly just ambassador stuff and speaking with I've met through the program.
Very cool. And I think that can be a jumping off point for a lot of other communities that you may find your way into as well, the same way that it has for others who have already spoken. What about you, Zatomas? Any other communities that you're involved with outside of the ambassadors program?
Well, actually, yes, there is the Women of Xbox community is now growing a lot. It was already there since some years. It was founded by an Xbox MVP and fellow ambassador, I guess. She's Miss Deusgeek is her gamer tag, I guess, and also her nickname. She's Diana, and she's absolutely amazing. And the community is a great place to, talk about the games we love, but also a fantastic place to talk with our other female gamers. So I kind of love spending time there too, so to spread the word about how important it is to have more female gamers out there.
Absolutely, especially during Women's History Month, and I know we spotlighted Miss Days Geek for Women's History Month, and she's also, like you mentioned, an MVP and a community champion, and and she runs the Women in Gaming group, like you mentioned, so great synergy there. I have a question that some of us can answer, and maybe some of us can't. What was life like when there was no internet?
I'm the only one who can answer that. What the heck?
Exactly.
I know. I was born in 77.
I mean, I can only comment of the times when there was dial-up and you would either have someone on the phone or you could use the internet to check your emails and you'd hear all that weird sound that the dial-up would make.
Yeah.
But that was years ago when I was like
I
very
would
young.
suggest we all do a dial-up tone impression, but I'll spare the ears of everybody watching the stream. 'Cause that's no fun for anyone.
I missed the handshaking noise. I have to say it. I missed the handshake.
You miss it?
I missed it.
It did tell you were about to go on the internet.
Of course, that also, back in those days, it also meant if you had call waiting and somebody called while you were online, you were dropped.
Kenny has a question for us. What game frustrated you most? Most
Ooh,
frustrating.
Mm.
All of the Front Software games.
Yeah,
Does that count?
yeah, that's like the genre, right? That's kind of the point.
And Hollow Knight
Oh, that.
Hollow Knight. Okay.
also, yeah. But I loved all of them. But that was frustrating along the way. A sweet frustration, let's say.
Sure. Well, because you get the reward if you can get past it, then you're like, oh, the frustration was worth it because now I'm not frustrated anymore. But if you don't get past it, then it's just frustrating. And that's where I left Dark Souls personally.
Oh, come on.
I think Madden generates the most frustration for me. That's the game, really that or like any sports simulators. NBA 2K does the same thing. I can get very angry very quickly playing those games, and it can be a struggle sometimes to like balance that with the enjoyment. I like to play those games, but then the thing happens and you get all mad, and definitely it's a short road for me to frustration sometimes.
Oh,
I don't know. This game's getting there for me right now. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, this one can be
This
frustrating.
particular hole is kind of tough.
Especially if you run out of time or if you hit the stroke limit, that's a frustrating experience.
For me, FIFA, it gets very frustrating. Some games go really well, other games want to forget those ones.
So similar kind of feel.
I gotta say, for me, it's games that I want to be able to play, but I can't finish. Because the games that I can get frustrated. The more frustrated I get, the louder I get, but I end up getting past it. There are some games, like I've gone back to Arkham Knight, which is now on Game Pass, and it looks really pretty with the HDR.
Mhm.
I remember why I stopped playing it. I can't drive the car for anything, and there's a lot of the missions that require that.
Yeah.
But also the early Assassin's Creed games that required a lot of jump, move, twitch, twist over here and grab that in succession. I can't play games like, no matter how much I want to be able to play that game, how much I want to do well, just, I get frustrated because I can't.
Yeah.
That's why one of the reasons I like Game Pass is it allows me to not spend $70 or $60 to realize that I'm not going to be able to finish a game.
I think
That's
I
true.
think for me probably Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Oh,
that
yeah.
got me kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one got me. I think I kind of quit on that one, rage quit at one point. I just never got back to it.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
agree, and we already talked about it, but what's it called? Jedi Fallen Order is one that definitely got me pretty frustrated at times, but it's one that I actually did in the end beat, and so I got that payoff of, well, at least I
Hey,
won in the
Taxel,
end.
right next to me.
I have a new question for us, and it comes from Pandy. Invent an ice cream sundae. What are your flavors and toppings?
Oh, what a great question.
Well,
Hmm.
I eat gelato, not ice cream. That's a pretty important distinction.
Okay.
True.
Yeah.
And, and chocolate, definitely. Dark chocolate, even better.
Yeah.
So dark chocolate gelato, and
Mm.
just, or can you clarify? I don't want to offend you by putting the wrong toppings.
No,
on your
no,
gelato.
just that. No,
Okay.
we don't usually put toppings on gelato.
Okay,
So-
good answer. What about
I
the rest of
personally
you?
like my classic banana split.
Classic banana split.
Having been to Italy multiple times, I can vouch for the chocolate gelato out there. It's out of this world. It's amazing. But if we were to put toppings on it, though, I quite like pistachio. If I'm going to go all like candy, then I'll just popping candy. I think make it fun, exciting.
Sure.
I think I don't know what you guys call it out in the States. We call it space dust or popping candy or
Pop
Pop
Rocks.
rocks. Yeah.
pop rocks. Yeah, that's it. No, I was talking about it today. Yeah, pop rocks.
If you want to have fun, put that in your cat's litter box.
That sounds like a mess waiting to happen. If you could bring back a game franchise, which one would you bring back and why?
I would go
Yes.
all the way back to the Lord British, and like they were way back on the PC. I'll think about them. Ultima series.
Okay.
A lot of good stuff back there.
I think they're bringing back one of my favorite ones of Fable, so kind of
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
I was thinking
I hope
the
they do
same.
it justice. I hope they do it justice.
Yeah.
I used to play a strategy game called Empire Earth on the PC back in the day, and that game was awesome.
Yes.
And I would love to see it come back around, remastered.
When I was a kid, me and my brother, we'd play a game called Smuggler's Run. And we had the original, and the second one came out, and that was great, and we play it all the time. So I'd love to see that come back.
Smuggler's
We'd
Run.
drive around, and yeah, it was kind of like you drive around like beach buggies around this open world map, and you go and collect deliveries and stuff, I guess. I can't remember. I mean, I remember a lot of the time we just drive around and just make up our own games in this open world rather than follow the actual story.
That's fun.
I guess that was the whole, like, we were able to just create our own games, and we spent hours doing that.
That's one of the nice things about those less built out open world games is the ability to do that sort of thing where it's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
there's not that much like scripted for me to do here, but we'll just make our own thing up.
I
Shogun Total
also,
War says Pandy.
The one that tends to come up with me a lot is also Burnout Revenge. Any
Burnout
game that
Revenge,
just basically
yeah.
requires you to like crash stuff and make things blow up, I'm there. You know.
Yep. And that was,
Love
we talked
Burnout
earlier,
Paradise was great.
Halo was my first game, first shooter that I owned on the original Xbox, but the other game that I got was NASCAR Thunder 2002 or 2001, I can't remember which one. And I'm not a NASCAR fan, but all I did was turn around and drive the wrong way and see how big of a crash I could cause, which is not very humane of me, but it was fun.
I do that in the games that I play. Like Wreckfest is good for that. If I know I'm not going to win, I'm at least going to wreck everybody else.
Yeah, the nice thing about Wreckfest is at least that's kind of the expectation that's set, is like, it's in the name. NASCAR, you're supposed to like make the turns, but I was never any good at the game, so I would just cause wrecks. Looking at the other answers we have in chat here, we have some support for Fable, Shogun Total War, Fable again, Manic Miner games from the 80s from Edge, The Last Ninja on C64 from Sandy, and over-the-top shoot-em-ups from Japan like Parodius. Updated
I
Sam
never
and
heard of
Max
that
Hit the
one.
Road, Crimson Sea, Otagi. Yeah, there's a lot of games in here that I haven't heard of, and that explains why they need to be brought back. So, what message would you, community champions, like to leave the rest of the audience with as we finish this up? And we'll start with Albert. Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap?
You know, if you like Xbox, you like what you do, you like this community, and we're always here to help you. I think it's more than said for me and all the fellow community champions and active ambassadors. We're a very united community who love Xbox as a brand and the ideals behind the community and what we're trying to create, an environment that's welcoming for everybody. I think don't be afraid to reach out to us. We're not, we made it to this level just like we started out like every other ambassador, and we can definitely help you be successful within the program and within the community. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me or to any other the fellow community champions or ambassadors or even Taxel community managers. They're always here to help you. Don't hesitate to ask.
Absolutely. Thank you. What about you, Paul?
First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming to the stream and hanging out with us, because that means a lot to me. So you can all get to know us. A lot of you I've gamed with, but a lot of you I haven't. If you're not already following me, please do so and invite me to games or see if I want to do something. I'm always up for something. And like I said earlier, if you have either one of the golf games, the PGA, what's the other one? The Golf Club 19, I think. Hit me up. We can do a couple of rounds. But thank you for coming out, and hope you all had as much fun as we did.
Thank you. Absolutely. Eden?
Yeah, likewise with Paul. Thank you to everyone for coming in and watching and listening to the Q&A earlier on. I guess my message to you guys would be stay in touch with the community, with your gaming friends, but also with your friends and family as well. Obviously, times like this can be tricky. So, stay in touch, speak to people as much as you can. And Nightbot, please don't ban me for putting too many symbols in the chat.
Yes, Nightbot is listening. And what about you, Zatomas?
Let's say be nice in general, especially as gamer. involve people, let them play with you, let them talk to you as ambassadors, but in general as well as gamers, especially when interacting online. Be nice.
Great message is from all of you. Thank you very much. The message from me is if you're watching this and you're not currently an Xbox ambassador, but you would like to become an Xbox ambassador, go ahead and follow the link from Nightbot here, or Moobot. And for these four, hopefully I can speak for all of you by saying if you see them around, feel free to say hi. They are visible in the community. You can find them in our Discord and on social and on Xbox. So very much looking forward to hearing more from the four of you in the future. And for those who didn't get a chance to be interviewed today, who are community champions, we're going to continue to do these as time goes on so that we can continue to kind of shine the spotlight on each of you and give you all a chance to let the community get to know you better. And for those of you who know somebody who should be a community champion, please do use the nomination forms that we've made available. I will drop one of those after I wrap the stream here in the stream chat, and we'll do a better job of making those visible to the community more generally. But this is a role that you can nominate people for, so if you know an outstanding Xbox ambassador who you really feel deserves this kind of recognition and trust from the program and from Xbox in general, from the community as a whole, please do submit those nominations so that we can continue to add new people to this group. And speaking of which, we will have a new one in a few weeks as we start April. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, no spoilers, but stay tuned for that news. Thank you to the four of you for joining me today. It's been great talking to all of you, getting to know you better. I've had a great time. And with that, I think we're going to wrap the stream. Okay.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for a great
Thank
stream,
you.
Taxel.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for participating in the chat. We'll see you all soon.
Bye, everyone.